All right. What's up, y'all? Riffin with Griffin back again. You know how we do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite podcast. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin, your absolute favorite podcast. A lot of stuff on the show today. I saw this documentary, The Fall of Minneapolis, a different perspective on the George Floyd situation, and I want to give you my thoughts. Crazy stuff. Plus, Reacher Season 2, Percy Jackson on Disney+. And, news and notes, keep you updated on what's going on in my life. But anyways, thanks again for watching. All right. Anyways, thanks for watching Riffin with Griffin. I appreciate you guys being here as always. Live on Wednesdays. Live on Wednesdays. You know how we do it. So I appreciate you guys coming, and being here, putting your comments, all that kind of stuff. Everything helps. Everything helps the podcast move forward, and we're trying to do new stuff for the year. And remember, if you want to be a Patreon member or a Twitch subscriber, that stuff is now you could do that because I'm doing extra content on Mondays. Do like a 15-20 minute episode about like whatever's happened on the weekend, or some special topic that's going on. That's where I'm going to be doing that now. And so that's up. So make sure you check that out if that's something you're interested in, if you want to support the show. And like I say, by the way, and that is, where am I at here? Yeah. So please hit the subscribe button so you know when you get these notifications when I'm going live every Wednesday. And if you don't want to watch me game, join the channel. But you should follow the channel anyway, because when I go live on Mondays for the extra bonus content, you can watch 5 minutes of it if you're not a subscriber, you can watch 5 minutes of it for free. And then you have to be a subscriber to like continue. So, you might want to get a taste. So you got to follow me on Twitch just to get that. And then, like I say, new extra Patreon content coming every Monday. Promise you that. It's been a while, but I'm actually doing it now. So anyways, that's where we're at here on Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin, as they say. So anyways, welcome guys. I see everybody in chat. Thanks for watching live on, YouTube. And also thanks for everybody all those truck drivers out there, all those people on the road, or all those people that have like long, tedious jobs and you need something to listen to and you like tune in to me. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support and all that stuff. So mostly on Wednesdays now, I'm transitioning into doing more reviews of things I'm watching and suggestions from you guys, along with giving you little tidbits about what's going on with me. I hope my voice is matched up. I have a new camera system thing set up, and I think it's been messing up, but whatever. It's still fine. You get it. I'll fix it for next week if it is a situation. So, but anyways, like I'm saying, welcome. News and notes. What's going on with me? As you know, we're getting close, man. Our due date is the 27th. It's the 27th. So, and that's just like right around the corner, man. It's so right around the corner. And if hey, you wanna send something to the baby Griffin? I do have a Target registry. Chose Target on purpose because of all the trolls that are always talking smack about that Rachel works at Target. So I said, okay, cool. You know what I'm gonna do? We're gonna have a Target registry. Thank you. Yeah, trolls, come on out. And so if you and I by the way, I do want to thank everybody that has sent something. That's a lot of my Twitch subscribers because we've been around. My Twitch people, we've been around, and I'm actually gonna put the link in this description. Baby Griffin Registry. Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm gonna put that right there. So if you're interested in you're like, I want to be a part of that, Griffin. I like that. So I'm gonna put that up in the description. Anybody that's interested, if you want to do that, you don't have to. I mean, half of it is like half of the people that actually have sent something, I actually know who they are. There's a lot of people that are like on my Instagram who are my friends who are like, yo, dude, what's your registry? So I put it up there. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I always thought it was funny that people were, that they thought that was something that was going to bother me. Like, it's like, Rachel wanted to work, she wanted to be a visual merchandiser and she got the job. She hasn't been, her pregnancy has been tough. So she hasn't even been back to work. I don't even know if she will. I told her she didn't have to. You know what it is? It's like my mom, I remember, as you know, guys, my mom has dementia. It's tough. It's tough for me because one of the things that my mom always said to me is like, you got to have a kid. When you have a kid, when you have children, you'll understand, and I just really wanted her to see this. She always wanted me to get married and have kids, and it just sucks that it happened at a time when I don't know if she's all there. You know what I'm saying? It's tough, But I do remember one of the things my mom said to me when I was younger. She would be like, man, because she was a single mom. My mom was a single mom, only child, and I was the only child. But her thing was like, she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I remember her saying that to me. She was like, I wish I could have stayed at home. She wanted that. So I always said, when I get married, in my mind, I have kids, I want that option to be there for my wife. If you don't want to go to work, you don't have to. If you think this is important to stay home and take care of the kid. And so I given Rachel that option. I was like, hey, you don't got to do, you don't have to. You achieved what you wanted. You wanted to be a visual merchandiser and you got it. But if you just want to stay here and raise our kid, help, be there all the time because that's what you find important, because that's what my mom wanted to do. I want you to do that. So who knows? But anyways, you know what I mean? It's like, I know that Jose, mom had to, exactly. I don't begrudge my mom at all. My mom gave me a great life. Like, my mom taught me a lot of, about hard work, about like, she made time for me. She did, I always had a good birthday party. I always had like, she would take, I always remember my birthdays. Like, we would go to like, I could get like 3 or 4 of my friends and she would take us to Magic Mountain, and then she would be like, all right, you guys go. And then she would do whatever and come back and pick us up. I always remember those kind of things. So she made time, you know what I mean? So, it's just like, life gets in the way. You know what I'm saying, y'all? Life gets in the way. I appreciate that, Mike, but it's probably better to go over to you to either Patreon or the Twitch. But thank you for the member. You can also be a YouTube member, guys, and you just reminded me I got to put these videos up on YouTube. But anyways, so it is what it is. I don't know why I'm going on a tangent, but we are here. We're getting close, man. Due date's the 27th, and we're just like, it's like, I just want it to happen already. You know what I mean? Like, just get here so we can just start that part of our life. So I'm a little anxious about this, like, childbirth, and like, I want Rachel to be okay. And am I going to handle this? What do I want to see? You know what I mean? Like, it's like so overwhelming, but it's probably adorable for all you parents out there who are like, oh, look at this first time parent. I just feel like, I guess I'm, mature enough now to like, maybe I intellectualize things too much. That's the part of being a comic and a podcaster, is like, you just overthink everything, because that's great for podcasting and doing comedy. But when it's time to live real life, it's just like, oof, so we'll see. But anyways, I see a lot of comments in there about when your wives started working again. And, I get it. Here's Heather 22 said the kid wants the mom home, I believe that. But we live in it's like we have weird agendas in society about what they, there was like this feminist movement makes it seem like if you're a woman and you want to stay at home and raise your kids, somehow that's wrong. Somehow that's bad. Somehow you're not being a strong, independent woman. And it's just like, what? How about instead of being a strong, independent woman or some macho chauvinistic guy, how about like, let's have a good family unit? And whatever that is in that family unit, that you're supporting each other. If one person is, able to support the other where they can have the best environment for their kid, maybe that should be what the discussion is about. But you know how it is with agendas, man. People got agendas, and it's just like, it's craziness out there. We live in crazy times, man. That's what I say. We live in crazy times. But anyways, thanks for being here. Got a big discussions today on the show. But in the meantime, let's go to comments and see what people had to say this past week on the comments. Carl W2798, he said, Riffin with Griffin, let's go. I appreciate that. And then somebody said, Novice127 asked, where can I find Kyle Quasmundo's music, especially this intro song? It's impossible to find. Okay, one, he didn't make, Kyle, you know what? Oh, I see you're commenting on a different episode. Yeah, he's on Instagram. He is on Instagram. If you just look up his name on Instagram. I haven't talked to him in a while, actually. I gotta hit him up. You reminded me to hit him up. Cool dude, great producer, man. The guys that have sent me music on the show, some great dudes, man. They sent some really hot stuff. So check that out. Let's see here. All right, Downs and Drome. That's what this guy's name is. Downs, Indroam. Keep posting these, Erik. You're showing up on my feed constantly, and my wife too. Maybe the Algo guys are shining upon you. I hope so. So that's pretty good. I don't know. Let's see. What's one from last week? Let's see. Oh, somebody said Ricky J Stir 2586 said, as the old cliche goes, Jimmy Kimmel doth protest too much. There's a reason. I don't know about that. I mean, it's just like all that Epstein stuff that came out, like, it's crazy how guilty, everyone's guilty by association. So, it's like, this isn't some official inquiry. They had some like, this is the official list. No, this is just discovery in a lawsuit, and people's names came up with no context in a lot of those people. So they just said anybody that Jeffrey Epstein was associated with ever is somehow guilty by association. So that's a little unfair, but whatever. Bring Me Creatures said, I'd love to hear some random music reviews, just like the movie ones, but about one of your favorite albums. You know what? That's actually a really great idea. That's actually a really great idea. But, the only thing for me right now is music feels like Family Guy episodes, And what do I mean by that? It's like, I don't know if you guys ever watch Family Guy, but they have those like cutaways. You know what I mean? Those cutaways. And so like, I remember cutaways more than I remember say what the episode was about. I think albums are like that now, that it's all about singles. In my day, I don't want to sound like the old guy, but in my day, people put out an album, and sometimes the album would have a story, and there would be a couple of songs on there that wouldn't make the radio, but they'd be some of your favorite songs. And so you have like this, like, what was this album about? It'd just be like a great album, and you're like, oh, I love that album. Like, I don't think people really talk about that anymore. So now it's all about singles. So now these like big time artists that have a lot of money, they'll like reach out to like, 25 producers and be like, hey guys, can you make me songs? And then they have like a sort of lottery system. It'll be like, all right, so I'm gonna pick 15 of my favorite singles from all these producers. And then they put that on, like, that's their album now, that's streamed on Spotify or whatever, the music platform. And then it just becomes about hit singles, I don't necessarily like that. But there's still people out there trying to be, an artist. And I think people become misunderstood like that. It's like, I don't know if you guys saw that thing, Most Def. Well, he doesn't call himself that anymore. He was talking about Drake's music like it's not really hip hop. Well, to me, that's someone that only listens to what comes out as the popular Billboard Top 100. Like all those Drake songs that come out, that like the sort of like pop crossover hit songs, they're fine. But man, you got to listen to you go into Drake's album. I love those songs. You know what? I'm just going to do this right now. Let me just pull this up. Like I love the songs, like there'd be like some like B-side tracks, they don't even call it that anymore, but there'll be like some B-side tracks that I really like, that I think this shows, who Drake is. Like, for instance, on the Certified Lover Boy album, my favorite song on that album is called The Remorse. It's the last track on the album, track number 21. Check that out. That, to me, is when Drake's at his best. So, but like, that's not the stuff that's going to make the radio, and how many times do you like how many times are you going to listen to like the whole album anymore? Because, the attention span is so low. So people are just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to listen to a couple of songs I heard, or you listen to somebody like a certain playlist and it doesn't have, you know what I mean? And nowadays you could just be like, hey, you talk to Siri, or you talk to, Alexa or whatever you use, and you just could be like, hey, play this, and you can like cultivate and make a playlist that's specifically to what you like, as opposed to like hearing this artist out and see what you like about this like art that they put out. So, but anyway, some people, it's not for everybody. Like this guy TXXT in the chat said Drake is the worst. Rather listen to nails on a chalkboard. That's a little harsh, man. You know what I mean? That's a little harsh. So, whatever. I'm not going to get into this because you guys are getting crazy on me. All right, so now let's get a little bit serious here. Serious discussion coming. Prepare yourselves for that. This is the review section of the podcast. So I was on Golden Hour, and Chris brought up this thing he saw, this documentary he saw, and it's called The Fall of Minneapolis. It's called The Fall of Minneapolis. And they have a website. Wait, what's going on here? Oh, man, my thing's not working. Well, that freaking sucks. Sorry. So now I can't even go to the thing right now. It's messed up. I don't know what happened there, but whatever. If you're listening, it doesn't matter. Anyways. So I can't go to like my, stuff on the screen because it's glitched. But anyways, I'll just talk about it. So The Fall of Minneapolis, it's a documentary, and it's like, how they describe it is based on conversations with those who were there, including Derek Chauvin, Thomas Lane, and other Minneapolis police officers who've never spoken out before. Liz exposes how the facts were manipulated to dupe and divide America. So this is about the George Floyd arrest and death of George Floyd. And so it's a very great website. If you go to the fallofminneapolis.com, and I actually should put this in the description, and I will. This is like a very interesting. I'm put that in the descriptions if anybody wants to go to the website, because they have an agenda. They really do. First of all, I'm always leery of any documentary. Like documentaries all are about pushing their own agenda. And they use the facts in a way to push forward their agenda. And, but that doesn't mean that the facts that they have here aren't valid or important to see. So that is one thing I want to say. And this is a very intense website. And, they show the research that they did. You can see all of their references, where they got the information from. And, it's very interesting thing. So first of all, this documentary is like now They want to expose that there was more to what happened with George Floyd than the press and the media and politicians and everything put out. And, when you watch this, the crazy part is like, so this thing opens up and immediately they're showing you the body cam, the cops' body cam footage. And they just open with that, They open they open it up and they show you like what the cops' perspective about what happened when they first arrived on the scene. So they arrive on the scene and the store owner is like, yeah, I got some fake bills and that's the guy over there and it's George Floyd in his car, So the cops come over to the car and he's in the driver's seat and, he's not being very cooperative at all. And so, and you have to, like, to me, this body cam footage should have came out immediately, because of what was happening in the country. Like, you watch this body cam footage and it tells a completely different story than the narrative that was put out there. Because if you're not from Minneapolis and you're just sitting at home and you hear about this, what are we supposed to trust? The news comes on, whatever you watch, whether it be Fox or CNN, whether it be like MSNBC or you're on one of those other conservative, whatever it is, the news comes out and we don't know. If you think about it, what do we know? We're just watching TV and we hear black man killed by cops in Minneapolis, things that already been going on in the country for, that year. So everybody freaks out and it turns into a thing. But cooler heads didn't prevail. But I'm going to get into why I think that kind of stuff happens. What I'm just trying to get into right now is like watching this documentary and what it means. Now, I think you should watch it with a grain of salt. I think you should also watch it and think also that there is a bigger picture here that doesn't absolve the cops. To me, it doesn't absolve the neighborhoods and the people's reaction. No. But it is a discussion that should be had. But I tell you, you look at this body cam footage and it tells a completely different story. First of all, he definitely looked like he was high on something. He was not cooperative with the police at all. And these are the first cops that came on the scene, right? And then there's like the people in the car with him are like, dude, stop. Like, just do what the guy says. There's a stranger on the street who's like, hey man, just you stop resisting. It's like, this is from the body cam footage, right? If you just believe, especially liberal media, they portrayed a thing where the cops came, got him, didn't care about him, threw him on the ground. The dude had his knee on his neck and killed him. That's the message that they put out. You look at this body cam footage and it's like, that's not what happened, man. He was very uncooperative. And not only that, just from looking at the body cam footage, I'm no forensics expert or nothing like that. This dude looked like he was high as hell. He looked like something was wrong with him. You know what I'm saying? It looked like something was wrong with him. It looked like, and he was not paying attention. He was like, don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. And the cop's like, I'm not going to shoot you. Like, do what I say. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't get into the back of the car. He was like, I'm claustrophobic. He just was like, didn't seem like he was all there. And what's crazy, even in the video, the initial cops on the scene, they were like, hey, call the paramedics. Like, we never heard that before. But right on the body cam video, the cop is saying, call the paramedics, because in his mind, he was like, oh, something's up with this dude. Okay? All right, so now this documentary is trying to portray that, yeah, man, he died from drugs, right? He died from what was going on with him. See, I disagree with that part of it, and I'll tell you why in a second. But what I'm saying is this. The facts in the case of everything that happened in this documentary is like very fascinating, and I do suggest you watch it. I think that this is the kind of information that everyone should be like, oh, I got to see this. I can't just believe everything that I see. Even with this documentary, I would say, but don't believe everything you see in terms of like the narrative that they're trying to push. You know what I mean? And I agree. I see people in the chat talking about it. Like, get your news from both sides. I mean, I totally agree. I'm all about that. You know, there's people that think I'm some kind of liberal, whatever. It's like, you don't know me then. You know, I just want the truth. I just want the facts. I just want discussion. And I think that that's what was missing in this situation. You know, but what I'm saying is this. Okay, so here's the point I'm trying to make. I believe that this documentary is trying to show that this dude was high and he died because he had hypertension and all that. My point, though, is like, see, they were showing also in this documentary that he was arrested before and was doing the same thing. He put drugs in his mouth because he was trying to swallow them because the cops were there. The cops were like, spit that out, you know? But they handled that situation completely differently this other time he was arrested because, and my question is, and if there are cops out there, if there are cops that listen to my podcast or you know a cop or you know anything about this, get into the comments from me, please. Because my thing is there a procedure if a cop comes on the scene and the perpetrator is high, older, or something's wrong with them, and it's visibly something's wrong with them, is there a different procedure in how you would get this guy on the ground, arrest him? Is there something to that? Is there some kind of thing where they go? Because it seems to me that in the first arrest not the first, but the previous times he'd been arrested in the documentary, the cops handled it differently. Like they called, the paramedics had to come. They're checking his blood pressure. They're making sure, you know what I mean? So here's what I think happened. Like I say, it's very nuanced, okay? So these initial cops come, they're dealing with him for like a long time, you know, and then the new guy, then Siobhan, whatever his name is, that cop and the other cops show up. I don't know if there was a discussion between the cops of like, yo, yeah, we've been dealing with this guy for a while. We called the paramedics. Something's up with him. Because these guys came and then they were doing like, according to this documentary, a by-the-book trained technique of how you keep a suspect in custody who is not being cooperative, okay? So to me, I think that, and then that cop got him down, put his knee on his neck, which is apparently what they're trained to do, and that wasn't allowed in the trial, by the way. That's what's like mind-blowing is like a lot of this stuff, you know, wasn't allowed in this trial. But I think that my point of contention here is that if something like putting your knee on a dude's neck who has hypertension and is on drugs contributed to the guy's death. Whether it's murder or not is, I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm saying is just because this guy was on fentanyl, whatever it is like that, and then, you know, that doesn't absolve the cops of partial blame for his murder, for his death, I'm saying. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying I think that all this evidence that they're trying to show to try to be like, oh, look what happened, I don't know if it absolves those particular cops because I think there was something went wrong here. You know what I mean? The communication, the flow on the scene didn't seem to go from the initial cops who were there to the two cops that showed up and eventually ended up being a part of his death. So that's what I'm saying. There's nuance there. But the other part of this documentary that I thought was fascinating is all of these police officers in Minneapolis are talking out. They're being like, what's going on? They didn't appreciate how they handled the riots, how they let a precinct just get taken over. And, you know, they're coming across like the mayor of Minneapolis was like using this as some sort of political grandstanding. And like, you know, it's like, and I feel like a lot of that is true. You know, I feel like this kind of stuff is weaponized by the media for agendas. And I think that that's wrong. You know, I really do. I think that like, and how is that allowed to happen? Well, if you have a city or there's a feeling going on in the country of that the cops are doing something wrong, or there's some kind of disconnect between the police and the neighborhoods. And that's been going on for years and years and years. And then there's little news stories pop up about the cops did this, the cops did that. Then when something like this happens, it could be weaponized. And that's what I think happened. This George Floyd situation was weaponized, and it did divide us. And I think that that's wrong. You know, it's wrong. Like, this information, we should have taken a beat. We should, and now moving forward for me, I'm not believing anything I just see on the news from any side, right or left, until I get all the facts. My thing is like, can I see more information before I just believe what you're saying? Because like, just the body cam footage alone tells a different story. Like, when I saw this body cam footage, I was like, oh man, what happened here? Now, I'm not saying that look, George Floyd he was in the wrong in terms of the dude was, giving fake money. I don't know. I don't even know what happened with that. I don't remember them talking about that. But the police were called on this guy, and he had a criminal record. They ran this like, hey, what's your name? All right, and they gave his name. So they checking on him. They know something's up here. They know something's up. And just like, you look at it and you go, yeah, that dude was high. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe he was or wasn't, but he was acting up. He was resisting arrest. He was making it very difficult for these police, and he put them in a very bad situation. And it contributed to his death. Like, straight up. Okay? So, you know what I mean? It's like, I think that like, this is just one source of information, and I'm giving it like, I think you should watch this. I think you should watch this documentary, The Fall of Minneapolis. Take it with a grain of salt because, obviously this person that made this documentary is very pro-police. They're very much like felt like this was an unfair portrayal of what happened. And they're right. It was an unfair portrayal. But that doesn't mean that like that it isn't more nuanced than what's put out there. It's not black and white. It's not the cops are bad and the people are being wronged. No, I think that like this issue, it goes back to like what's going on in the communities. Like the police officers don't live in the communities. So they look at these people as like, they're the enemy. It's like, I'm in enemy lines. I feel like the issue is that the cops don't patrol the neighborhoods and get to know people. You know what I mean? And then on the other side, people don't respect the cops. They don't respect authority. They don't respect like they think they can just get away with whatever. And I'm not talking about everybody. I'm saying like the criminal element. Like there's no feeling of like these cops are here to protect us and we should respect them. And that's wrong too on both sides, So that's like what I'm saying is that contributes to when something like this happens, then it just blows up. And then like these idiot politicians try to take advantage, that's where the shit is weaponized, man. It's not good, and then what happens too is we live in a world of silence right now. So like, there's no discussion. Like you should be able to talk about this. I should be able to look at this documentary and then have a discussion with people like, yo, so what do we think about what happened here? And then is there some nuance in this? Is there like, where's the blame go? It's not ultimately one person's fault or the other person's fault. Can we discuss the situation? No, because here's what happens. And this comes a lot from the left. If I now am looking at this and being like, yo, I think there's more to this. What ends up happening is the left people go, oh no, you're a right-wing nut now. You're a right-wing nut. You don't believe, it's like, so you go, oh, so you don't want to talk. So you don't want to like talk about what happened and how this affected the world, how this affected the United States. I mean, the world actually, because they were talking about this in Europe. The actor from Star Wars was out in England, like, no justice, no peace, and all. So this was like a worldwide phenomenon that happened, but like there was more to this. So what ends up happening is you start talking about this, and the sort of left people, they criticize you. They make you feel like, and then you know what you do? You end up being like, ooh, I'm not going to say anything. Then you just live in silence and you just let things happen, you know? And then on the other side, they only see black and white. Like, it's crazy. Both sides are doing the same thing in terms of like one side, the left, they something make everything about race and gender and, you know, and then the other side, they do it in the opposite, the reverse, but do the same thing, you know? It's like if I'm talking to this person right now and I'm bringing up the point of like, well, like, because this is my real point about this fall of Minneapolis and how it happened. It's like everybody's to blame in this, in my opinion. That's why I need to know, is there some sort of procedure? Is there some sort of like trained procedure when you get on the scene and the person's high? The person is not in their right mind. Do you treat them the same as someone? Do you treat them exactly the same? To me, I don't think you should. You know, if someone's older or two, if something's like, are you going to treat them exactly as every criminal treated the same? Is every situation treated the same? Because what I'm saying is this. He was clearly high on something, in my opinion, looking at this body cam footage. He was not of his right mind, whatever reason that is. If it could have been drugs or it just could have been he wasn't in his right mind, them roughhousing him contributed to his death. Now, whether they are completely to blame, are they murderers? I'm not going to talk. I don't know. Okay. But I'm telling you that it should be discussed in that way. You know, it should be discussed in that way because they're putting this documentary out to show. Oh, by the way, here's something else in the documentary that was wild. And I don't know if it's true or not, but let's say what they're saying is true. The official autopsy shows a different picture too. The official autopsy was he had fentanyl in his system. The official autopsy showed there were issues. He had health conditions, you know, right? And then the family, they're saying in this documentary, I don't know if it's true or not, that they hired independent people who, according to the documentary, didn't even get to examine the body. Like, they didn't even examine the body. They didn't. And then they're the ones that are out there in the press, like this one black woman and this one older white guy are out there saying, yeah, he died because of the cops. So you look back at this now and you're like, whoa. And then, of course, it sparked what it sparked throughout the whole nation. And I just think that was, it's shameful if this was, you know, if this was crazy, you know, someone in the chat said, imagine if he was armed. Well, here's the thing though. The initial cops on the scene, you know, the guy had the gun on him. The guy was like, show me your hands. So like George Floyd, like you watch the body cam footage, just like, even if you just watch the body cam footage, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is different than what was portrayed, because George Floyd wouldn't put his other hand up. So the guy's like, show me your hands. Show me. He's yelling at him, show me your hands. And George Floyd's like, no, please don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. And the guy's just kind of like, well, put your damn hands on the steering wheel, man. So he eventually finally puts his hands on the steering wheel, right? But like, you know, the cops like, what the hell? So like, they got him out of the car. They searched him. They found a weed pipe on him. They found, you know what I'm saying? That's another thing too. They found something on him, right? You know, this is a lot happened before he was on the ground. They tried to get him in the car for like 10, 15 minutes. He wouldn't get in the car. He was like, I'm claustrophobic. And he was like being very what do you call it? He just wasn't being helpful with the cops. Then the freaking the two cops that were charged with his murder show up. So a lot of stuff happened before they even got there. And I think there was some kind of miscommunication. To me, it looked to me like those cops should have like got with each other. But you showing up on the scene and you seeing your fellow cops dealing with something, and this guy is like acting up. They don't know, and that's why I think that's why the cops are culpable for what happened to him. Is what I'm saying. But again, it's nuanced. But anyways, you know, you gotta, what I'm saying is the whole point of why I'm bringing this up is just to say, look at it. Just watch it. Get a different perspective. You can still look at this and still believe, yeah, those cops are wrong, right? But all I'm saying is I wish we would have had all of this information, you know, out in the press. Like, where was the news, man? Like, the news should have been like, okay, we have the body cam footage. This is what happened. They didn't do that, man. They just fanned the flame of this. And that mayor of Minneapolis, man, that dude, I don't know what his agenda was. Like, the whole thing seems suspect to me. The whole thing should have been handled completely differently. But again, how was something like this allowed to happen? It was allowed to happen because of how, look at what's going on in the chat. People don't want to discuss things. They don't want to talk about nuance. They don't want to talk. They want to make it everything about it's right and left. And if you're not right, you're left. If you're not left, you're right. But you know what? There's some sensible motherfuckers out there who want to live in the middle because we want to find out what's going on here. And I think that this is an example of go find out. Like, from moving forward, guys, take a beat. We should all take a beat now because now we know what kind of world we're living in right now. That it's too political, it's too divided, and information is power. And they're using it to weaponize the masses of people who don't care about the facts. Who cares about the facts now? People don't care about the facts. People just care about their echo chamber. You know, they just, well, this is how I feel, and boom. You know what I'm saying? So, whoo, it's, yeah, man. You know, and like I say, I'm not taking an opinion either way in terms of like, I think that what I've learned from this is like, ooh, there was more to this than what they let us know. And people don't care anymore now. So y'all have moved on. People have moved on. You know, they just move on. That's how we are as a society. We just move on. And so, but there's lives that have been affected. So now it's like you go back and you got to look at it. And maybe they're going to be like, oh, this is what happened. And maybe it should change things, you know? Maybe there should be a different procedure for when you get on the scene and a person is clearly, but the one cop, this is something they don't talk about. In the body cam footage, the cops like called the paramedics. Like it's like it happened right away when they were dealing with him. They saw something's up with this guy, called the paramedics. So it's like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like they portrayed this completely differently. I don't know about you, but like you're at home, you're seeing the riots and everything, and they're talking about what happened. And like, you know, they definitely made it seem like they pulled the guy out of the car and they talked to him, threw him down on the ground and and the guy put his knee in his neck and killed him. Like that is how it's being portrayed. And just look at the body cam footage. That's not what happened. So, yeah, so somebody said the new info was from the 20-page autopsy report that was publicly released by the County Medical Examiner's Office June 30th, 2020. It has not been changed since. Like, yeah, so I'm saying. Like, there's also, when you go to this website that I have a link in the profile, they show all of their sources where they got this stuff from. And so you can read, if you wanted to, you could do your own research and look into all this stuff. I'm just saying, like, this is like, there's more to it than that. All right, guys, let's get to a lighter note here, okay? So, wow. I wanted to talk about that. You know, I wanted to review and have a discussion about it. And I just, again, I think that like, guys, don't shy away from discussion. It doesn't have to be ultimately like one side versus the other. I think it's important to decipher the facts and information and make an informed choice. And if you don't know anything about this, I'm pretty sure none of y'all can make an informed choice just based off what CNN says, right? And in the same way, these people who are clearly, you know, but again, when you hear all the police officers they interviewed in this, it just gave me a different perspective and a bad taste in my mouth. All right. I wish my thing was working. It's not. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, but one thing that's cool is that at least, let's talk about this one first. because it's like at least this is showing up. You know, I don't know why it's doing this, man. I don't know why it's doing this, but that's why I want to talk about Reacher season 2. Reacher season 2 is, let me see if I can fix it. Maybe I can fix it. Screen cap. I don't know why it's doing this. I really don't know why it's doing this, but it is what it is. Maybe if I change it, will it change? No, it doesn't change. You know, I don't know why it's doing that. Anyways, whatever. So Reacher season 2. I liked Reacher season 1. I don't know if you guys, the Tom Cruise movie, that's what made it famous. But this guy that plays Reacher, what's his name? Alan Ritchson. He actually is a more example of what Reacher was supposed to be in the original series. In the book, I'm saying. So the season 1, I really enjoyed season 1. I thought it was, you know what I mean? I thought it was an interesting story, and I liked that it went like 8 episodes, 10 episodes, so they told the complete story. You got to know all the characters, and it was great. Season 2 is a little far-fetched to me. I do still like it, but it's very much like, kind of cliche stuff. There's a bad guy that's getting weapons, and they're gonna do a terrorist attack, and Reacher and his team have to stop it, and then there's like a twist, and it's like, so it went from like a really interesting show to sort of like, now it's like a guilty pleasure, which isn't bad. It's not bad. So it's like, so they say the former military police Jack Reacher solves crimes and meets out his own brand of street justice. I mean, that's like, sounds like a show. It's like the A-Team or something like that, right? So it's just, it's like, it's weird. It turned into that. Like the second season turned into that, man. So. But again, it's good though. You know what I mean? Sometimes you want something to be like completely different, not artsy fartsy, but you want like, how's this different from other shows? Like, you've seen this show before. Season 2 is like a show you've seen before. Like, this is like some revenge movie or some like, something like that that you've seen a million times. That's what this is now. It's turned into that. So it's like, but again, it's not somebody said a straight edge death wish. Totally great. That's like great example, like a PG-13 death wish. That's what it is too. Yeah. Cause you're just kind of like, what my problem with like shows like this are, is like, my thing is like, just keep it rated R. Like, if it's going to be adult, make it adult. It's like when they made Logan, remember Logan, the movie Logan? So it's like the last Wolverine movie, but it was the first time they made it rated R. And it was like the first time you saw those claws actually cut people, like actually cut arms off, actually go into people's head, and you see the blood. The first time I saw that, I was like, oh shit, you're right. It's like, but then in your mind you go, well, of course the claws would do that. They're freaking razor sharp claws. Yeah, they're gonna cut me, But what I like that though. I like if it's gonna be adult, make it adult. Don't make it PG-13 and then like sort of like which you still doing adult concepts. Reacher ain't for kids, right? So then don't act like it's for kids. Just let me see some heads blowing up and like blood, guts, and gore, and then tell an adult story. So I'm on that. I prefer that, But that being said, it's still a great series. I do recommend it. It's a fun watch. How about that? It really is a fun watch, but I did enjoy season 1 more than I enjoyed season 2. So there's that. All right, so the other show that I wanted to just give you a brief thing about is I'm also watching Percy Jackson and the Olympians on the Disney Channel. I like it. I like this. I'm a fan. If you know me, I'm a fan. I love fantasy books, man. when I do my book club, I talk about my fantasy books I love. I'm reading a couple of fantasy series. I listen to audiobooks. So I'm listening to a couple of audiobook series right now, but I love this. Like, so I remember the movies they did, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I remember the movies, and it was, it was fine. You know what I mean? It kind of got hokey towards the end, but now they're doing a series again, and they rebooted it. And as Disney does, you know how Disney, they reboot stuff and then they wokeify it, right? That's the prevailing thought that's out there about Disney, right? But I'll say this with this thing. First of all, when it's some make-believe stuff, I don't care. So in this movie, it's like Percy Jackson is a white boy, right? His name's Percy Jackson, but, he could have been black for all I know. They could have just named him Percy. You know what I mean? They could have done that if they wanted to, and it's fine. Who cares? The other girl, the Athena's daughter, she's black, and then the satyr guy from the story, they made him like, I don't know what he is, but he's brown. Okay, so my first thought is like, when you see this, you go, uh-oh, are they doing this again? And it sucks that you feel that way. Don't it suck? I mean, I think it sucks that your first thought when you watch something Disney is like, all right, what did they change or what, but give this a chance, because in this thing, once you get past that initial thought and you look at these people, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I think it's well done. I think it's well done. I think it's well acted. I think the adults that show up in the story are doing a great job. And that's all I care about, is I just want it to be believable. I want the story to be believable. I think that the three kids, they could be doing a better job if I'm being honest. I think that this is like, but they've got their groove as the series has went on. So I watch it every week, and I think it's pretty good. And like I say, I think the adults that show up are pretty good. And, Andy E says, Percy Jackson, a black dude? No. But it sounds like he could be a black dude, right? No, Percy Jackson's white. He's a white kid. You know what I mean? But it's like, I always thought that, even in the past, when I read it, I was like, oh, Percy Jackson, okay, we're going to get like a, but it's like, no, he's a white kid. No, I'm not going to talk about the aliens. I got to look into it first. You know what I mean? It's like that police presence, in Miami. Biggest police presence ever, they said. It's like, what's that about, right? But we'll talk about it another time. So check out, like I said, if you're into fantasy, or you have kids and you want to watch something kind of light, but I mean, again, I love this kind of stuff. Like, if a vampire story comes out, I watch it because I love vampires, and I love fantasy, science, sci-fi stuff. So I'm watching Percy Jackson. I think they're doing a good job. I think it's I give this, and I give Reacher like, both of them get like 6 woo-woos. Woo, 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 woo. Yeah, so both watchable. But anyways, guys, we're coming to an end here. I appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe. You know what I mean? You got to subscribe so you can get the notifications when I'm going live. Because when I go live, you gotta show up, baby. You gotta show up, baby. and then make sure you Twitch follow me on Twitch. And the reason why you should follow me on Twitch is like, I'm gonna go live on Twitch every Monday. Is bonus content for the Riffin with Griffin. I call it Monday Nuance. So I might go into something that I saw, and we have like a raw discussion about it, because that's what I think is important, and that's what I like to do. So make sure you guys do that. And of course, like I say, if you want to be a Patreon member now, and I know I've been saying this for years, like, oh, Patreon, I'm gonna do stuff, but guys, I actually am. I actually am doing stuff on there, so make sure you guys check that out. Now, somebody brought up Kyle Quasmundo earlier in the chat, or on that thing, so let me go because you know what time it is.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Rap Recap.
Welcome to
Griffin.
With Griffin.
Griffin with Griffin.
Hello, everybody.
We ain't sniffing. You know how we living? Like Jeremy Piven. These raps I'm giving.
With Griffin.
Ooh, check out Percy Jackson. That shit is good.
Staying with me on
Check out Registry. I wish you would. Get your facts about that shit. Check out that documentary. You wish you did. Ooh, Fall of Minneapolis.
Griffin.
Get your facts. Get your facts. Don't be lax. Anyways, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of the discussion. Let's get into the comments and, see what happens. And I'll see you guys next week.